What are things parents should never say to their children? This is kind of a low bar as far as bad things my parents did goes. When I was a kid, my parents were very controlling. Now, that meant, among other things, that they didn't let me go outside, for fear that neighbor kids would wander by and I'd hear things that went against my parents' ideologies. It also meant that they controlled exactly what and how much I ate. As in, if I didn't want to clean my plate, I was beaten. Well, I was also a fat kid, and given how much control I had over both my food intake and the exercise I could do, I didn't have much say in the matter. My parents gave me so much shit about it over the years though. Like, even if you were allowed to have some agency in your life, you shouldn't get that kind of shit. It was pretty miserable. Anyway, when I went away to college, I was finally on my own, and I took charge of that. Everybody was warning me about the freshman 15, but I was looking my intake. That's not great of course, but I lost a couple pounds. Not even that much. And then I went back home for winter break, and my parents are all, "Oh, you're too thin, you need to eat more," and I'm like, "No, I'm good thanks." At one point, Dad said, "Eat more or I'm kicking you out of my house." And so I gained that weight back over the break, and by the end, they were back to giving me shit about it. So, I dunno. Maybe don't be such a dick about your kid's weight. Certainly not with demands and expectations that oscillate between two extremes like they did. Edit, to be clear, when I said that it was a low bar, I meant that they also hit us for far dumber reasons than not eating all our food. I just don't understand how seemingly no one who has kids ever considered the cost of them first. Do these delusional people really think that being a parent was going to be free or cheap? If they wanted to do X, Y, and Z thing, then don't have kids. Having kids is your thing once it happens. Once during family therapy, I was talking about how my mom invading my privacy made me feel unsafe, and she started her whole "you're a kid, kids don't get privacy, privacy is bad for kids" thing, and my therapist interrupted her to say that, privacy is actually beneficial. I don't think I have ever seen my mom get so mad so fast. My mom straight up told me I was going to fail college. When I was 14, I used whatever money I had on me to buy an orange/gray beanie, hat, from the Nike store we were at. When we got back into the vehicle and I put it on, my dad looked in the rearview mirror and said, "You look stupid in that." He wasn't joking either. It was pure maliciousness. Even my stepmom looked at him and gave him the death glare like, "WTF is wrong with you?" It's almost 25 years later, and I still remember that. Still stings. So yeah, parents. Don't tell your kids that they look stupid based on an article of clothing that they wanted and purchased with their own money. Kids can handle insults from their peers just fine. But from their parents? God, that shit hurts. I was a Spencer's/alternative kid, and my parents liked to say, "I can't believe you're buying that." Even though it was my money I made from my paper route. And it wasn't even like I was buying fake nipple rings, it was just pin pressers and Asian fans. My dad said my hair was a rat's nest. He only noticed someone's appearance to be insulting, never anything positive. Don't make your kids do the things you're afraid to face. When I was a kid, my mom dumped all that shit on me. Rent late? I had to face the landlord. She'd try to convince me it was a fun game, like see how fast you can run to his door, drop a check in the mail slot, and run back to the car. Even at 10 years old I knew it wasn't a damn game. All she was doing was transferring her anxiety directly to me. Be honest with your kid about the shitty situations you might be in, but don't make them carry the weight in your place. I can imagine what a parent in this situation might be thinking, kid doesn't know about rent and stuff. They run around and pretend to be on secret missions all the time. If I send them to go do a secret thing in a hurry, that's just another game, right? But it's not just another game, and that's obvious because nobody's playing. The story they tell is kids don't know fantasy from reality. But kids in messed up situations distinguish fantasy from reality constantly, habitually, even obsessively. They have to. I had to answer the phone for her when bill collectors called. I had to run in and order ridiculous ice cream sundaes she was too embarrassed to order for herself. If we were cashing in change at a bank so she could get cigarettes, I was the one she sent inside. If she needed to ask a relative for money, I had to come along too. When we were getting evicted, I had to go to the landlord's house with her. I too was an emotional support child, and no parent should ever put their kid in that position. Fucking hell man, my mother did the same, told me about every single problem she had: financial, work, relationship. At the age of 10 I was stressed, wondering if we'll be homeless, whether my parents are getting divorced, or if we would have enough money to even eat. Not a nice way to raise your kids. TBH, I was 10 and stressed about adult problems and made my childhood unpleasant because I would always worry about money and if we had enough to survive. When I was a teenager I was extremely insecure about my double chin. I didn't have a huge one, but it would show up a little bit if I smiled in pictures. When I used to vent about it to my mother, she would just say that I should get plastic surgery on it when I'm older. Didn't realize until way later how messed up that is to say to your kid. Sad face. I worked at a pharmacy and often had preteens coming to turn in their parents' forged prescriptions or bad checks. One was literally written in crayon. It was sad. Don't use your kids as your patsy. I'm reminded of a Reddit thread about strict parents. https://old.reddit.com/r/unresolved mysteries/comments/460q/where_killer-perpetrator/d04qf47. And the line how having strict parents can seriously make you do shit you would never, ever normally do, because nothing is worse than getting in trouble with an abusive parent really stuck out to me. I think eating when you are full in order to not get kicked out of the house counts. Being beaten if you don't eat everything on your plate counts as well. I don't think this qualifies as a low bar. Maybe it's because of studies that kids who eat everything on their plate lead to obesity, while parents complain in my day kids are everything on their plate. Just to be clear, this is next level bad parenting. Besides physical abuse, this is about as bad as things can get. Edit: you said you would be beaten, so this is just about as bad a situation as a kid can be in. Until you start paying bills, you have no rights, so you're damn right I'm coming into your room whenever I feel like it, and I can take anything I want from it too, because it's actually mine. You're too stupid and lazy to be able to make in the real world. And if someone ever did hire you, they'd fire you as soon as they realized what a mistake they'd made. You have no idea how much you cost me. I could do X, Y, or Z thing if I didn't always have to pay for your crap. We're free thinkers in this house. Rages when I express a thought/opinion that's different than theirs. You're just a kid, what do you have to be depressed about? You have nothing to be depressed about. After I told a doctor how I was actually feeling. You can't be that stressed, you're just a kid. Are you trying to make me look like a bad parent? Yes, I'm in therapy now. Weary face. Number 2 and 3 was drilled into my head since childhood. I was a straight A kid, teacher's pet, went to a good university but still labeled lazy because that's how you are born as. Now that I'm in the workforce, they started to say you'll be fired soon, you are not committed to anything, just wait until your boss/colleagues find out. Loudly crying face, hope I can move out soon. My school required a mental evaluation for me, because I was self-harming. My birth giver said I was embarrassing her, I had a good life and had nothing to be depressed about, and how it was going to cost her so much money to have me treated. Did the same thing when CPS showed up a few years before. She would leave me with all 4 of my siblings, and her friends' 4 children to go drink, and not come back till the next morning when we had to go to school. So I lied and told the psychiatrist I was doing it all for attention. I'm NC with her now. Damn, this sounded exactly like my dad. Not in therapy, but shit, this is making me realize I probably should. Yeah, this wins the worst parent ever award. I feel sorry for the fact you had to deal with this abuse.